Okay, now. Are you ready?
Join on the corner where the big boys play.
Well, hello, everybody, and good morning. We are about to have another one of these amazing Ask StreamYard shows with another great topic. So, gotta say hello to all my friends. We got people all over the place. We got Don Moody is here. Hello, Don Moody, watching from good old sunny Florida. Hopefully it's a sunny day for you down there. We got Giorgio here as well. Nice to see you, my friend. DC World TV is here. We've got all kinds of great people watching from Jamaica. Fantastic. We've got Solman Musa Abdullahi, I think, okay, from Nigeria. I apologize if I'm not able to say that correctly. We got Richard from the UK. What's going on? We got so many great people here today. We've got the USA represented, very well. We're well presented. There you go. We've got Rachel in the house watching today as well. Good morning to everybody. Okay, we are going to have some fun talking today. So today we're actually going to be talking about show flow, smooth transitions, right? We're going to be talking about those types of things. So we got a great question. So hello, everybody. Mariano, Jay. Oh, it's always so good to see you here live with me. Always good to see repeat viewers, right? So if you are here watching for the first time, let me know. This is your first time catching the Ask StreamYard show live. Mariano is no stranger to the show or our content. So as I said, it's always great to see those really friendly faces that I love to see here for all kinds of stuff. So, okay, let me get a couple things situated. So, listen, here's the deal. If you're new, then I need you to know what this is. This is our Ask StreamYard show where we take a question, usually posted inside of our Facebook group. That's a lot of times where people get support. A lot of people like to help each other in there. They ask questions and then the user community chimes in and helps each other out. I love watching what you guys are asking. The group is amazing. If you're not already part of that group, make sure you go search Facebook, StreamYard community on Facebook, and you will find our Facebook group and join the group. It's a great supportive community. Lots of great things going on in there, of course. So here's what we do. We take a question and we take a deep dive on it. And today we're going to be talking about show flow because Mr. John Troncali posted the question, a podcast or live show is all about flow, in my opinion. Of course, there are other key factors like content and chemistry with your guests and co-hosts, but still, flow is on top of my list when it comes to successful shows. How do you as a host keep the flow of your shows going? So that's what we're going to be diving into today. Now, John posted that in our Facebook community. So as I mentioned, if you'd like to be potentially featured on the show, we'll send you a StreamYard t-shirt, very cozy t-shirts that we have, as well as answer your question on the show, just like we are today for John's question. Now, I will say this, we got to get a little bit of, just so everybody understands, this is not for feature requests, right? So if you have a feature request, then here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to StreamYard.com/contact. You will see there that there is actually a form you can fill out. So we absolutely love getting those feature requests. We review them over there. We don't really take them from our live shows. We try to stay on topic, which is all about staying and keeping a smooth show flow, right? Staying on topic. So I want to make sure that if you do have a feature request, we would definitely want to hear from you, just not necessarily in the comments of this particular show. So go over to StreamYard.com/contact and you will find the form to fill out. So, okay, let's just make sure that we are in good shape here. We're ready to get going. All right. And if you have support questions, you can also email support@StreamYard.com and they will absolutely be ready to take care of you and help you out too. So we won't be doing support on this particular show. Again, this is the Ask StreamYard show where we are going to be talking about show flow. We're going to be talking about basically keeping your live videos flowing smoothly. So there's a lot of ways that we can do this. There's a lot of strategies that we can put in place. But let me first just kind of make sure everybody understands why this is important. So when you're live streaming, there are going to be different types of shows that you're going to create. So some people may have a fun show that's sort of just like a party. Maybe it's a game, whatnot. the show flow may be less important for a fun kind of random show than, say, for example, a show where you have a guest on and you're doing an interview. So John mentioned podcast or live video. So again, a lot of times that show flow is going to be important for you to stay on topic, stay on time. There are different reasons for this. Now, again, as I'm saying, the level of importance depends on your personal brand, your brand of your show, what your show is all about, how it works, right? So some shows, some events are going to be really important that show flow is really, really buttoned up. Whereas others, it may not be as important. So as you're kind of listening to some of the strategies and some of the things we talk about today, I want you to be thinking about that. Be thinking about some of the tips I share with you, consider implementing them, but also consider, is that overly necessary, right? Now, I am going to say that I do personally believe that just about every live streamer, anyone who's creating videos, especially live videos, should consider having an element of flow to their show, okay? And again, this looks a lot of different ways for everything. So Tanya says, preparation used to get me. Yeah, so preparation actually, I know that I see it's all about prep. A lot of this is about prep, but there's also some other things we're going to cover today to keep that flow going in your show. Now, one thing that's interesting that Tanya's pointing out here, preparation is a key word. To have a really good show flow, it does require some preparation. It requires preparation that maybe in the beginning, as you are getting used to using a show flow or used to using a run of show, for example, an agenda, whatnot, that prep might take you a little longer. But as you are creating videos more and more and more, you will actually get faster and even your preparation will become more efficient. I have certainly seen this in my own live streaming journey. For sure. And, some shows I prep more for than others. And again, that comes down to the content and it comes down to what is the style of my show, right? So certain shows may require more preparation than others. And Wes here is saying it can be as simple as point form notes. It literally, I will tell y'all, sometimes my little agenda is written on a Post-it note and that's it. Some shows just simply don't need as much detail, right? So let's talk about some things that we need to do here. So let me pull up something real quick, because the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to this flow, right? So let me define because show flow can mean lots of different things here. It also is spelled differently in different ways. So show flow could literally be the flow of your show, the agenda of your show. Some people interpret it that way. I also interpret show flow as literally the way your show is flowing. So for example, I mentioned earlier, if we entertain feature requests on this show, then the flow of the show, there's a lot of O's going on here, is going to get thrown off. I want to stay on topic and I want to get through the content that I've planned for you. And I want to do it in a way that actually helps you consume the content so that you can learn. This is a learning show, right? It's a learning show and it's a community show. And so I want to make sure I deliver that content in a method and in a way that will allow you to soak it in and learn something. And so there's some do's and don'ts about that. So the show flow could be the agenda, but it also could literally be the way you execute or implement or deliver your content. Now, that show flow also could be keeping the show going instead of stalling or falling off or, again, getting distracted or off topic. So, again, show flow means a lot of different things here. And so we're going to kind of cover all that together. Does that sound good? Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into our first kind of tip, if you will. And many of you probably use one of these things. So if you have advice to offer everyone else in the comments, I absolutely want to see your comments. I want to actually, if you have a tip, you know what I want you to do? I literally want you to put tip in all caps, and then I want you to say what your advice is around this topic. If you have experience and you feel qualified to offer that. This is definitely, I love one of the things about all of our viewers is that y'all have so much knowledge. Some of you have more experience in other areas than me, in plenty of areas. So I definitely want to hear all of those things that you guys want to be able to do in all that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk about the first strategy, the first thing that everyone should consider doing. And I kind of already alluded to it a little bit. And that is, I want you to actually have an agenda, or a run of show. And the reason I'm saying or, so it's funny, I was talking to Kristen Karasevich as we were planning, some stuff about this video, and we were talking about the phrase run of show. And I said, I feel like the phrase run of show means a lot to broadcasters, producers. It certainly is a phrase, a term in the broadcasting industry, in the video production industry. But for a lot of our viewers and our users of StreamYard, run of show just sounds like a weird phrase. So it really is actually an agenda. It's essentially an agenda with maybe more detail, right? More elements, more things that go into it. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to actually pull up. I always do this. I do this every time. I have it ready and then I accidentally close the browser window. So I want to pull up a blog post because we actually have a blog post all about a run of show and what a run of show is, so you can become informed on what we're talking about here. And so this is the blog post right here that we have that's up on our blog. I'm going to go with this view actually. So this is what we have. So we've got run of show. What is it? And I want you to go to this link. Actually, let me put it in most of the comments for y'all right here. There we go. And so what this is a great article that I really liked because it does break everything down. And so it's like, what is a run of show? Yada, yada, yada. So do I need it? We're going to skip down to this part though. This is the part I want everyone to see right here. So let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see it a little bit better. So this is literally what goes into an example. This is an example of a run of show. I need to fix my background. What happened to my background? What in the world? There we go. Got to get on brand, right? Okay, so again, this is what we have. You have timing and you have duration, which are different. So timing is kind of like when do certain things happen, like at 11:05, right? At 11:20. Duration is how long is it going to be? What's that stuff going to be? The topic, so you're kind of like your content itself. And then you have cues. When I read this, I literally, for sure, kind of feel like this is more that production aspect. If you're doing a virtual event, for example, if you're doing a summit, if you have a particular type of live show that is absolutely, very much geared towards more elements, you're going to want a detailed run of show like this one. So Agata says, I'm using this run of show, works great. Yeah. So we definitely have provided this great blog post around what this run of show is. Now, here's what I want to say about it. It can also include things like content, screen content, right? Lighting, when I first read this, I was like, lighting, but there may be certain things that change in your scene based on different types or places or parts of your show. But again, this is also can be doubled as a live stream run of show example, but also as a video production example, right? So definitely keep that into mind. Audio as well. Are there any typical music tracks that need to be planned out? Are there sound effects you're going to be playing, right? All that stuff needs to be thought out and planned for. And then of course, just notes. This is just one example. This is the blog post that we have that goes up into those details. Now, if you're watching on YouTube or on our Facebook page, then I just posted the links to that particular blog post. You'll see it right there. So you can definitely check that out. If you haven't checked out our blog, by the way, go check it out. There's a lot of really great articles about a lot of things. So I wanted to briefly talk about that particular tip. I saw something I wanted to grab. I saw somebody post something. I think I saw a tip somewhere. Oh, yeah. So Christian says the blog post has a template you can work with as well. Yes. So you can use the template that's included in that blog article but make it your own, right? Which is exactly what I want to point out here. That's actually one of the things I wanted to say is make it your own. I will tell you that I do not use that type of run of show template. In fact, I don't use what I would call a run of show. I just don't. Now, as I maybe look at some more, just I guess I'll say more complex or more higher end production style live streams, like a live stream event. If I was putting on an event and I had multiple guests coming and going, I definitely will be looking at a run of show for sure. Because here's the thing, as I said, depending on your content, depending on your show type, that's going to dictate what kind of detail you need. If you're not playing background music, if it's just you on screen, your run of show is maybe more of just an agenda. What are you going to cover? What are the topics that you're going to cover? And how much time do you want to spend? How much time do you have? Do you have an hour to talk to your audience? Do you have 90 minutes to talk to your audience? Do you only have 30 minutes to talk to your audience? So doing that and planning that and knowing, okay, I have 45 minutes. I'm going to go live today and I'm going to cover these 3 main points, right? Well, then you need to have some sort of flow to your show. So that goes into the agenda. So again, run of show is an industry term, but quite frankly, agenda. It's an agenda. It's just an agenda, right? So be thinking about that. So an agenda can be as simple as you literally creating a Google Doc or a Word doc on your computer. It could be an index card, which is a lot of times what I like to do, or it's a Post-it note. In fact, I have a really good friend, Heather Sager. What she does literally is every topic goes on a Post-it note and she tapes it to her monitor. So she literally tapes it to her monitor, around her monitor. Boom, 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 boom. All the things that she needs to say. And she literally, what she will do is as she's talking about each thing, she will reach up and she will kind of grab that little Post-it note and just take it off and set it down. That's what she does. So that's how she does her agenda. Your agenda can be whatever you want, right? So she, like I said, she just kind of has this little thing that she does and she just pulls them off the monitor as she's done with them. She knows she covered it and it's all right there in front of her face. I actually think it's pretty brilliant, to be honest with you. So definitely one of those things. Yes, run of show equals agenda. It really does. It's just another term for it. But again, this is why I'm saying it the way I'm saying it. It's very easy to hear about run of show, go do research on a run of show, even read our blog article and think, wow, that's a lot of prep. And we talked earlier that prep work is a lot about what goes into having a good flow to your live stream. Now, again, if it's just a simple stream, you don't need something really complicated. So you've got to kind of make that judgment call yourself. And so let's talk about some things that maybe go into that agenda. All right. So again, it's going to depend on what it is you got going on. It's going to depend on, if you have a guest or not and all those things. I always think that every show you should have a bit of an introduction, right? So think of your live stream as a sandwich. All right. We have a sandwich. We have bread on top. It's a bagel sandwich, by the way. It's a bagel sandwich. So you got the top part of the bagel, you got all the stuff in the middle, and then you got the bottom of the bagel. And the reason I say it's a bagel sandwich is because everybody knows the top of a bagel is a little different than the bottom of the bagel. They are really similar, but they are different, right? The top of that bagel is your intro. It's the beginning of your show. All of the layers in your sandwich, that's the content of your show, right? And then at the bottom of the show, at the back end, at the end of the show, kind of like the intro, is your outro. It's your closing of it, right? And so your show should be thought of like a bagel sandwich where you are planning. What is the top of is it an everything bagel? Is it a wheat bagel? Is it a plain bagel? What does it have? What's right after that? Is there peanut butter there? Is there jelly there? Is it a bacon, egg, and cheese bagel? Right? So be thinking about what those layers are. And so the middle is your content. So you have an intro, and then maybe you're going to tell a story to get started. Maybe you're going to play a video to get started, right? That's your content. Then you're going to have some main points. What is your show about? Now that content can be anything from just a Q&A session. It could be you announcing things. It could be you literally educating, teaching something, or it could be you doing what you do all the time, which is maybe like just demoing, right? Just demoing something. Maybe there is no strict agenda. It's just, hey, today it's crafting with Mel, cooking with Mel. Everybody, I'm going to have a Cooking with Mel show that I'm going to put on my personal page. I love to cook. I'm totally just going to figure out a way. I want to have like a cooking show in my kitchen and I want to do it. So Cooking with Mel, it could be that. There's no agenda to Cooking with Mel. You know what your agenda is? It's your recipe. It could be that simple, but then you're going to have something at the end. There's going to be a call to action or something that you want to make sure you remind your audience of, right? So any of those types of things need to go in your agenda. And so all the stuff in the middle of your bagel sandwich, whatever kind of bagel sandwich it is you've got, that's your agenda, right? And then in the back end, of course, is your outro. What are you going to do? How are you going to close? What are you going to say to everybody as you're going to finish it up? Okay? So that is literally how I like to talk about agendas and show flows. honestly. So let me check on everyone in our comments, and I want to see how everybody's doing before we move on to the next thing. So again, if you're just now joining us, we're actually talking about keeping your live streams flowing smoothly. All right. And so one of the things that we're actually answering John Troncali's question. He posted the question. He wanted to know. He said, show flow is really, really important. And he wants to know, how do you as a host keep the flow of your shows going? And so that's what we're covering today. This is our Ask StreamYard show, but I want to check in on everybody in the comments. You guys are loving the bagel sandwich. I like that. Everybody, Cynthia from Purgatory Paranormal now wants a bagel sandwich. Hello, Dimeback Darren. I haven't seen you in a while. It's great to see you live again, for sure. Okay, so yes, cooking over comments. You cook and then you answer comments. The more comments you get on a recipe influence the next stream, just some thoughts. Love it. That's absolutely a great idea. So definitely that would be part of that content, right? Tanya's reiterating at the end, CTA. Yes, for sure. So I want to make sure we don't have any questions or anything else that's coming in here. Let me check it out. All right. So Richard says, I love using whiteboards for planning out my live show. Yeah, as I said, you really can plan your show in your agenda and in any format that you want. Another tip that I have for everybody that I actually like to do, the JVlog says, put it in the description so everyone can see it and use it as a reference also. Also a great idea. That actually will help your audience know kind of what to expect as well, right? The other thing I like to say, especially if you're using StreamYard, is you can do what I'm doing, right? So I am actually using banners. And so a lot of times when I have a particular show that has an agenda of content, I actually will put those little segments in my banners. And so as I can click through those banners, that's my agenda. So I literally, I told you about my friend Heather who uses the Post-it notes on her monitor. Well, I'm basically doing the same thing, but I'm using banners. And so I'm actually using those banners as my reminder of what comes next in my content. And they're right there. So as long as I click on my banners tab in StreamYard, I see what's up next. And so I'm able to do that. And I'm also able to keep you engaged as a viewer by adding that element on screen, which is another way to keep your audience engaged and also keep that retention going, right? And so the next thing I wanted to point out that's really important is that if you're going to have a guest on a show, this is really critical. This is actually a key part. And as I talked about earlier, your preparation, your run of show agenda is all going to be determined by your style and your content. And so the format of your show is part of that style. And if you have a guest or guests on your show, then you're going to need to do additional prep work because you are going to need to work with your guests. You need to prepare your guests. You need to make sure your guest knows, hey, this is how my show goes. This is what you can expect as my guest. I'll actually start the show. I do a little countdown video. Then I'll come on. I'll welcome my audience. I might tell a little story. Then I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about some background. I'm going to talk about how we met each other and why I'm having you on the show. And then I'm going to bring you up on screen. And then when you're up on screen, this is how our show is going to go. And then you have your agenda. You might say, I'll ask you these 5 questions. In between each question, we'll take some Q&A from the audience. You'll notice I'm using StreamYard, so I'm able to display comments. You need to prepare your guest. You can do this by actually creating a specialized run of show document for guests. In fact, we've got a really great video about this. And so our friend Kirk Nugent actually made us a video, and it's on our YouTube channel. And so you can check that out over on YouTube. Let me get the link for you. And I'm going to post it in the comments. So when you're, here is the link to that video. So this is a great video. And I have been a guest on Kirk's show. And when he sent me his kind of like run of show document, I was like, this is fantastic. As a guest, even as a live streaming guest, he didn't skip any beats here. He wanted to make sure I was prepared. He gave me what I needed to provide to him before the show. He told me to show up early. Like I knew exactly what I needed to do as a guest. And so the run of show and the agenda is important for your own content and yourself. But if you have guests on screen, you need to also be able to provide something for them as well. So again, having those guests there's going to be more preparation that comes into that. So it's really definitely one of those things that you have to be important. For guests, so Chloe says, do my guests have to log in? So when you use StreamYard, one of the beautiful things about StreamYard is that they don't even have to have a social media account. All they have to have is internet access. And if you want them on screen, they need to have a camera, a webcam. And then, of course, if they're going to be speaking, which I assume they are, they'll need a way to capture their audio. That's all they need. They can literally join your broadcast from a phone. So what happens is when you create a broadcast and you want a guest on there, you're going to be able to grab an invitation link and send them that link, and that's how they join your broadcast. They'll be backstage. You decide when you bring them up on screen and when you don't. And so it's actually very easy. And so again, these are the types of things that you want to make sure you prepare your guests about in advance. Let them know, hey, you're going to need a webcam, you're going to need audio, you're going to need to wear headphones. That's part of that preparation. And so I really love you creating a template for this so that when you do have guests, you're not having to rework this document. You're not having to recreate the process here for all your guests. You're able to just say, hey, here we go. And here's the other thing I'll say about this. If you have not done live videos with guests yet, then I want you to understand that this document may grow as you go. Meaning you may add additional, things to it, additional information for your guests, because you're going to have different experiences with different guests. You may have a situation where it didn't go as well as others, and you may be like, wow, that was really awkward. I need to make sure that I prepare my future guests to make sure that doesn't happen again. So always know that these run of show documents, these agendas, they absolutely can be living documents that you can adapt and make your own. But I definitely wanted to point out that it's really critical that you if you're going to have a guest on, you absolutely need to plan this. Now, here's the other thing that needs to be planned for. When you have a guest on, you're adding a variable to your show. I find that when there are shows with multiple people on screen, that is when the show flow can get thrown off, because there's just more people involved, right? There's more people involved. There's more things going on. You don't know if that person's going to go off on a tangent. You don't know if that person's going to get off topic. So again, the more preparation you can provide to your guests, the better. Now, one of the things I also recommend is that you exchange a way to communicate with your guest. Now, this could be if you say, hey, I'm going to get your phone number, I'm going to text you, whatever. But the other thing I really like is that inside of StreamYard, you have a private chat. This is a place for you and your guests to chat with each other via text inside the StreamYard platform. Your guest will see that private chat. They will see the notification. And you could even say, hey, we're running low on time. We're going to skip the third and fourth question. So again, communicating with your guest, keeping the flow of your show going. Because, here's the other thing I'll say is that you may have had 5 questions planned, but the first 2 questions, you got so many great questions from your audience that you wanted to actually, go into those questions, but they weren't planned. And now you've run out of time for the other questions, but you were catering to your audience. That's actually okay to do. There are going to be times when you are going to get off, right? And there are going to be times when that's not okay. And then there are going to be times when it's totally fine and you just got to roll with it, right? Live video is kind of all about learning how to roll with the things that happen and knowing when to pull things back in. And that's the last thing I was going to say when it comes to having a guest is you need to kind of have like that cry uncle. You need to have a way to let them know that, hey, when I do this, it means we got to move faster or I'm cutting you off. I will say that one of the things I like to do with my guests, and I always tell them this, is that I always say, hey, I may put you on screen by yourself when you answer a question. And just know that, when I pull myself back up on screen, it means, hey, we need to wrap that up and move to the next thing. It's kind of a cue you can give them. So again, that also goes into planning with your guests, but keeping that flow going, because I've had guests on my show before where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what are they talking about? Where are they going with this? I don't even know what's happening right now. And I like literally am like, how do I roll? How do I ring this in? Right. And I know many people have had those nightmares happen. So if you have a way to make sure that you can let that guest know, hey, this is kind of my cue if we need to move forward. If you prepare that in advance, you're more likely to be able to pull your show back together and reel it back in. So I wanted to talk about guests because honestly, specifically, John posted in his question, he talked about having guests, doing podcasts, doing a show. There are key factors like chemistry with your guests and co-hosts, right? He's absolutely right. But these elements I'm talking about and putting these into your document in the preparation that you do are also going to help you in maintaining the flow of your show, right? So that's key. All right. So We are talking about live streams flowing smoothly. This is our Ask StreamYard show. If you're just now joining us, I know I saw our friend James Hicks waving, so I believe he's just now tuning in. So if you're just tuning in, we've already talked about what it means to have a show flow, what it means to have a smooth live stream. We talked about the importance of it. We also talked about, that different shows and styles may require different levels of preparation, different levels of smoothness, if that's really a phrase. So some shows are really casual, and that's the nature that they are, and that's what your audience expects. They may not need quite the same structure that other shows require, like when you have a guest on, or when it's a summit or an event, or there's a lot of production elements to it. So the more complicated your shows, the more elements that you add to it, the more people you add to it, typically the more structure you're going to need. And so we talked about having a run of show. You can catch the replay and get all that stuff in the beginning of today's stream. So, okay. So I wanted to see how everyone's doing here. And what if guests go wrong? Yeah, it can happen. I mean, it can happen. In fact, I will tell you, if you're going to have a lot of guests, you probably are going to run into a situation where it doesn't go so well. And that is one of those things. So have a exit strategy, as I mentioned, have that way to be able to pull it back together. So you're going to need to always have that. One of the things I always like to do too when I have guests is I always let them know about the timing. That was one of the elements in our blog post that I posted up in the comments earlier, is timing. And so preparing your guests and letting them know, hey, we have a hard stop at this time, or I need to make sure that we get through most of the content by this time, whatever. Preparing them, that gives you that out. That also is going to give you that out to say, hey, we're running out of time. So it lets you kind of reel it back in. Believe me, if you have lots of guests, you're going to have one that takes over. You're going to have one that gets off topic. You're going to have one that gets weird. It is just going to happen. It's a part of it. Absolutely. So for sure. Okay. Checking everybody out. Let me see here. All right. Well, good. Stephen, I'm excited that you are loving this. He says, I just started more live streams. This is much needed. Yeah. And again, check out that blog post. Check out Kirk's video for sure. This is actually a really great comment coming from Mike from Never Let the Machine Win. He says, it can be challenging to rein in a rogue guest. That's a great term, especially one that is famous. It is true. So there are going to be certain levels of guests that you may have on a show, and some of them may be a bit diva-ish, if you will, or maybe a bit entitled, and they just are used to kind of going and showing up and doing what they want. And so he's absolutely right. So again, having that preparation aspect, having the exit strategy or the plan B, how to reel it back in, knowing that in advance is going to actually help you. And the reason I say having that in advance is because if you don't think about it possibly happening, then you have maybe not considered what you would do, and you may panic, or you may get stressed, or you may freak out, right? And that is actually going to make it even harder. So if you have that kind of thing already planned out, and you have a bit of a plan, you're going to feel a little more confident, and you're going to be able to do it a little bit better, more smoothly, so to say. Okay, let's keep moving. So, we are talking about keeping those live streams flowing smoothly. And so let's talk about the next thing, because one of the other things that comes into a smooth live stream, another thing that comes into a smooth live stream is the actual content itself, the flow of your message. I'm speaking. That's part of my content. That's part of the content of the live stream. But there are also, you can use media. And so when I say use media, we talked about the agenda. I want you to actually consider using the media, like the videos or the overlays, to do the transitions, to move along your content. So we talked about this last week, actually. Last week, you guys, those of you that tuned in last week loved the stream. Clearly, the idea of using videos as transitions in your live streams was a hot topic because you guys showed up. A lot of people loved the conversation. We had a great conversation about it. But I showed you some ways to create video transitions for your live streams. So an example would be, what I've been playing here, what I've been pulling up. I pulled this one up, right? This is a animated, little video clip to kind of give a little extra element to my show. You can use those types of things for your agenda, right? So let's say you're getting ready to bring a guest on, or you have an announcement in the beginning. So again, we talked about the bagel sandwich. What if the top layer, the bacon of your bagel sandwich, the next thing that comes after the intro is an announcement, right? It's a great place to do announcements as you get started. Like, hey, just so everybody knows, StreamYard has new features coming out really, really soon. And I actually can say that. StreamYard actually has, you know how StreamYard just announced we just released a whole bunch of new features like hotkeys and everything else? In fact, all the new features can be seen in this list. Boom. All those new features are now available to everyone. Well, guess what? There's more coming. There are more features coming. Can you believe it? I know. So anyway, I could actually start the show and say, tune in next week because there's going to be a new feature or whatever. That's an announcement. But you can use videos to actually showcase those announcements. Now, this was a funny one that we made. It was kind of just silly, right? We talked about it. It was kind of, just dorky. But it's a little video that we created. We did that live on the stream last week. I opened up Canva and I said, here's how you can make some of these little video transitions. So I love the idea of you using videos and overlays to, again, kind of go through your agenda. Now, as you can see here, I'm also using the banners inside StreamYard. Every free StreamYard account is going to give you the ability to pull up a banner, to create a custom banner, to pull it up. These are great things to use. On your paid plans, our basic plan and our professional plan, you can also add custom overlays and video graphics. So an overlay would be just a static graphic. So let's say it's time to go into live Q&A. You could say it's live Q&A time. Get your questions ready. I'm going to be answering questions here live on the stream. So type a Q in front of your question, yada, yada, yada. And then you can simply turn it off and take it down when you're ready. That's an overlay. Now the video versions I just showed you, you can actually have these types of little things in your stream as well. This is a little video clip that you can do, right? The other thing you can do is you can also play what I would call little stinger videos that have audio with them. Now, what I showed you there is a video clip that has no audio in the background. Simple as that. You can also create videos. Like you could actually create little transition videos. So there's a lot of streamers out there, and if you're one of them, say, "Yep, I use videos in my my live streams." You can actually create a video. You can actually create a video about your guests. You can, if your guest has a video like a sizzle reel, have them send it to you. Play the sizzle reel right before you introduce your guest. These are great ways to actually, again, add that extra production element to your show and keep the flow going. But here's why I really like you using these things. It's also going to help with retention. It's going to help people staying in your show, in the comments, engaging with you live, right? And so I absolutely want you to think of that as part of the show flow. Part of the show flow is the audience. And I think this is something that people don't think about when they think about the flow of their live streams, is what about the audience? We're going to talk about the audience a little bit more here in just a minute. Michael says, we can unmute during a video overlay with no sound. So Michael, here's the way it works. So definitely go watch the replay of last week's show. We went through a ton of stuff. It was like an awesome show. We talked about all the different ways that you can use these transitions. But the way it works is this: if you create a video and it has no sound, then you upload that to StreamYard. That video is going to play over you, but it's not going to mute your microphone. Now, if you upload a video that has audio, like music or even any kind of audio track at all, StreamYard will know it and it will automatically mute your microphone as that video plays. But you absolutely can manually unmute your microphone once that video starts playing. So you can do that. So you can be talking in the background with the video's audio as well. So that's just a feature that's inside of there, which is super great. Okay, so again, I'm not going to take a deep dive on how to create those transition videos because we literally went all over that last week. But I want you to think about, okay, what's in your bagel sandwich? There's bacon, there's lettuce, there's ham, there's Swiss cheese, and there's mayonnaise, right? Make an overlay or a video graphic for each one of those little segments as you introduce them. Now, also, I like to use these little things to keep the show flow going, reminding everyone what our topic is about today. So as you are in between each little category of your content, know that some people are just joining your live broadcast. So you may need to do that. If you watch the show, you know that I do that throughout the show. I'll say, if you're just not joining us, here's what we're talking about today. I want people to know what's happening. I want to be able to cater, because live video is about your audience coming and going. Your audience is going to show up. They're going to leave. They may come back. Some people are going to show up in the beginning, and some people are going to show up in the middle. Some people may be catching the very end. And so part of your flow needs to understand that is happening in your audience. And so again, I wanted to talk about your audience. It's really important that you understand the element of it, because again, not everybody here saw the beginning of your show. So you've got to be planning that in that show flow as well to keep the flow going, because you want to retain, you want to get that retention, that audience retention for sure. Okay. What was that lunch order, right? Anybody else hungry for a bagel sandwich now? I certainly definitely want to do that. So Square Table Degenerates podcast, for those of you just joining us, every 10 to 15 minutes. Yes, it's one of those things, again, have that in your content. So if you have an agenda and you're one of those people that really likes to be able to look over or look down and see, okay, here's what I got. It's 11:42, so I should be getting ready to get to my fourth bullet point. But in between each bullet, you may even say engagement break. You may say reminder, right? And so I always say, in your agenda or whatever you plan, you want to plan the topics, but also plan those engagement breaks. And then, as I just mentioned, your media content as well. So have a plan for these things. So again, it could be a piece of paper, it could be Post-it notes, it could be an actual document that you have pulled up on your screen, but whatever you need, plan that flow. Because the other really important piece of being prepared and having this kind of run a show or show flow document or agenda, whatever you want to call it, is that some things may happen. Maybe all of a sudden you get a bunch of trolls in your comments, or the doorbell rings, or, just something might distract you. It can actually be very discombobulating, and it can throw you off, and you literally can be like, oh my gosh, what was I talking about? Or what's the next thing I was going to talk about? And so the other reason I do like for you to have at least some sort of prep done, some sort of agenda, is that you will be able to get back into the flow just like that, no problem, right? And that's really important, because sometimes things are going to throw you off. We talked about how guests can throw you off, but also just in live streaming in general, you never know. There's a lot of things that can happen. And so you need to have that home base to come back to and say, okay, I already talked about those two things. Next up, boom. And you don't want to forget anything. So definitely plan all that. But also engagement breaks. I want to talk about engagement breaks, because part of the flow of a show, you definitely want to be engaging your audience, but you don't want to over engage. Now, again, this goes back to the style of your show and the format of your show. I do a show on Tuesdays. I do a live show on Tuesdays on my own channel. It is very, very much conversation with my audience. It is essentially a live Q&A. Sometimes I have a little miniature training I have prepared. Other times it is literally just me going on and saying, post your questions. Let me help you. That is like pure engagement, right? So it's like all engagement. But when I'm doing a show, like on the Ask StreamYard show, for example, I'm teaching you, I'm educating you. I have segments to the show. I'm not over engaging with the audience, because I want to make sure that it's not just all that engagement and it's distracting. But I will engage with you all in between those little segments of content, if you notice. And every once in a while I'll see a comment and I look and I glance, and I definitely want to be prepared if somebody's got a question, like Stephen, I see you have a question, right? I want to make sure that I'm able, if something's right there in the moment, like James is dropping knowledge bombs right here, that I'm able to pull that up. So I am going to sometimes engage, but this is what I will tell you. It does take practice, and it can be hard. The more people commenting live, the trickier that can get. So it's very much important for you to understand, again, where you are. If the comments distract you, then don't worry about that. Take the breaks and engage with your audience in between your content. Some people will literally engage half sentence. They'll start talking about something, and then they'll be like, they're going to say, the bagel sandwich needs to have, oh, thanks, James. Yes, I appreciate that compliment so much. And then they forget what they were talking about or whatever. We don't want to do that. So part of that flow of your show is also having smooth engagement. So we're talking about having a smooth live stream. And part of that is absolutely getting good and practicing about how you engage the audience. So I always recommend you engage in between those content breaks, right? So the bagel sandwich, right? Maybe you've got the cheese. The cheese is the engagement, and you love a lot of cheese. So bagel sandwich, you got the bagel on top, you got some cheese, you got some bacon, you got some lettuce, you got some more cheese that might be melted and juicy, you got some ham, and then you got some more cheese and some mayo, and then the bottom of your bagel, right? And those cheese slices are the engagements. I will tell everyone that I did not, there are zero reference to bagel sandwiches in my notes for today's show, period. So, I mean, hey, it's what we're doing, right? So, bagel sandwiches for everybody. Okay, so the cheese is the engagement. So be thinking about that. I just want to point out this. I just want to make sure that you are able to understand that it does take practice, the more engagement that is, right? So there we go. I'll get off that one because it's about to get crazy, right? It's about to get all crazy. Okay, so resetting the room. So James did talk about resetting the room, and that actually is part of it. I think you have to have a plan to reset the room, but also make sure that you have these methods to reset the room. And that's why I like using media. So again, for example, this is me resetting the room. When I pull this up, it's me resetting the room. It's even me giving myself a tiny little break from being on screen from you. So do use those media elements so you can reset the room. Okay, let me see here. I want to get to Steven's question. So Steven, Next Level Mindset, says, why do I not have the option to add a trailer to my live streams? I've seen others do it. Do I need a certain number of subscribers? Thanks for your input. A trailer. So you must be referring to YouTube trailers. I have not used this. I think that's what you're referring to. So I want to make sure that is what you're referring to. So basically as a preview graphic, so when you schedule a live stream, you can have a, thumbnail. You can't, I have seen people create these videos. I think it's when they premiere a video. If anybody knows if I'm butchering this answer, let me know. So basically I've seen it done. In fact, I've seen the Alpha Gaming channel do it. That's Harris Heller's channel, for sure. So I think Christian's got a link for you. Yeah. So I think Christian's going to be posting a link about that. But yeah, I think what it is, okay, perfect. So Michael says, I play video overlay as a trailer on my live stream. That would be one way to do it. But I think what Steven is referring to is, video for Bosses says, I've seen Nick Nimmin do it. What I think he's referring to is literally when you schedule a stream or you premiere a video, there's a little trailer that plays before you go live almost as like your thumbnail. Nick Nimmin does it a lot. So I think it does have to do with it. I think it is a feature. I think you have to have the capability based on subscriber count and whatnot. But Michael's got a really, I love this idea, but it is a little different than what Steven's referring to. I play a video overlay as a trailer on my live stream. I totally love the idea of kicking off a live stream with some sort of video trailer of some sort. I love it. I think it's a great idea. And again, that's part of your bagel sandwich. And it's just your special type of bagel on top, right? Okay, subscriber count requirement. So there we go. There's our answer. We definitely have that answer for there. So we got a troll. Took care of that. That was quick. Okay, so I do it on StreamYard. Yeah, so I do it too on StreamYard. Yeah, so you can absolutely play these videos in between. Okay, so lots of people are talking about doing it. So Albie-tastic says Chris Johnson does it. He has less than 500 subs. So there you go. We'll figure that out. I'm going to look into that. I don't have the exact answer to that, but it's fine. Okay, let me get to our last thing, and then I want to open it up for Q&A. I definitely want to open it up for Q&A. So if you do have questions for today's topic, I definitely have some time to talk about, to get some of those questions answered. So make sure it's just related to today's topic. Okay. So here's the thing. The last thing I wanted to kind of talk about when it comes to having that smooth live stream is I want you to consider having that reoccurring. That is not spelled correctly. Let me fix that. This is one thing I love about StreamYard is that I can fix stuff, right? In reoccurring. I think it's spelled right now. I don't know. I didn't get an A+ in spelling, my friends, but I did get a good grade in typing, but man, I fat finger stuff all the time. Have a reoccurring flow style. And what do I mean by this? What I mean by this is you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you create a live broadcast. Now, here's the other, I want you going live often. I want you going live at least once a week. Have a reoccurring show. Have a show. The frequency of your show matters. If you go live once a month, that's not enough. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm sorry, it might be like a tough love from Mel moment. You've got to be using live video and you've got to be posting content more regularly. Our friend James Hicks, he's got like multiple shows per week. Some of you have 3 to 4 shows per week. Some of you are going live every day, right? So if that's one of you, if you're one of those people and you've seen those results, post in the comments right now. Yes, going live more often has given you results. Don't go live just to go live. So plan your content, but I want you going live on a regular basis. So we talked about the prep. We talked about how you will get better at it. You will get more efficient at it. Consider literally using the same agenda flow. Obviously, the content itself is going to change each week, each show. You're going to talk about something different each time. But consider having the same kind of flow to your show. Meaning, okay, we always kick off with a joke. Then we play a little video clip about our most recent podcast episode. Then we talk about we answer 3 questions. We have 3 items on our agenda. Then we do live Q&A, and then we end with a giveaway, right? That is basically a template to your show. Use the same template. Do a reoccurring thing. If you watch our town halls with Dan and Gage on Sundays, you know what to expect. If you're tuning in on Sundays every time, you kind of know what to expect with those town halls because Dan and Gage essentially have a reoccurring agenda. The specifics that they talk about are different each week, but they basically have a flow, and that flow is almost the same every Sunday. And so I want you to consider doing this. And the reason I want you to consider doing this is twofold. One, it's going to make your preparation a lot simpler, more efficient, and it's going to be easier on you. But the other benefit to having a reoccurring flow style is for your audience. So your audience, they kind of want to know what to expect. I will tell you that it does help when people have that general understanding of what's going to come next. It is going to help with retention, and it's also going to help with people coming back to your show on a reoccurring basis, which is, of course, what we want, right? So having that reoccurring style is actually going to create brand awareness, brand recognition. It's because people are becoming comfortable with something. They're becoming more used to something. They're essentially developing a relationship with it, right? I know that sounds really weird, but it's the truth. That's why when we watch our favorite show on the History Channel or whatever, we kind of know what to expect, don't we? The show, if you watch HGTV, those home renovation shows, it is like watching the same show over and over and over again. Chip and Joanna Gaines, for example. When you watch their show Fixer Upper, you know that they're going to go look at 3 houses, then they're going to go away, they're going to sit in a coffee shop, or they're going to take a phone call, and the homeowner's going to tell them which house they chose. Then they're going to start, Chip's going to talk about demo day, right? And then they're going to do all the stuff. They're going to design. They're probably going to have their kids on the show at one point. And then when they're done, they're going to do a reveal, right? And in the middle somewhere, there's always a challenge. There's always an unexpected challenge, right? Because we got to have a little drama. And then at the end, they're going to have a reveal. And they're going to have the big, big printed picture of their old house on wheels. And right before they pull that apart to show the new house, what do? They go to commercial. And we all know that. We know to expect it. And then they come back and then they walk through the house and they do all that, right? We know what to expect. It's the exact same show every single time with different people, different houses, different problems, and different designs. You can absolutely do the same thing in your live streams. There's a reason for it. So I definitely want you to consider that for sure. So Christian says, tip, create a framework that each show follows. It helps viewers know what to expect. Yes, that's basically what I just said. So yes, thank you for typing that in the comments. That's totally exactly it. Like it's literally, you're giving them something to expect, right? And then they know they can be comfortable with it. You're going to find that it's going to be okay. Mike says, are you implying that reality TV is scripted? That's a little off topic. I'm going to reel us back in, right? Yeah, no. Okay, so let's get into some questions. I want to answer some questions for everybody before we jump off today. So let me scroll up in my comments. Did you all see or hear Dan and Gage talked about pinned comments, by the way, that is a feature that is coming? I can't even tell you how excited I am about that. What that means is that I will actually be able to, as I see a question pop up, I can pin it, meaning I can queue it. I can put it into a queue. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about it. I cannot wait for that to actually come out. Okay, so let me see here. Popping in here. Rambani says, does StreamYard have an instant replay function or capability? So instant replay, no. So inside the application itself, like an instant replay, like, oh, what did you just say? Let me replay that for the audience. And then it would like go back and replay what just was live. No. However, you can go and stream old live streams. You can actually stream a previously recorded live stream. You can stream that. That's not really an instant replay, but it's kind of like a restream of a replay, right? Okay, I know I saw some more questions, so I want to make sure that I definitely get down to your questions. Okay. All right, let me see here. Do you have tips for a smooth ending of your live stream? So Pixel, Pia, Internet for Beginners. So here's what I say. I actually think that I remember when I was kind of first live streaming, I was like, gosh, it's always hard for me to get off the stream. It's always hard for me to end the stream. Part of this flow and part of this reoccurring thing that we just talked about is your ending. It's the bottom of the bagel sandwich, right? That we talked about. I love having either an end screen or an end video. So Pixel Pia, I definitely think that you have to have a sign off. I think that having a sign off, something you say the same thing every time, whatever it might be, definitely can help you actually close out your show and kind of get that weird, awkward ending out of the way. But also just simply saying thank you to your viewers. And if you're on a paid plan or a basic plan or a professional plan, you can also use a custom overlay, even a custom background, or a video. And so what I mean by that is as we end this show, we usually say thank you for watching, whatever, and then we pull this screen up right here. Boom. That is a thank you for watching overlay. Now, one thing you're going to see is out to the right, it's blank. And that is because on YouTube, you can also do card placements. And so as you pull this up and you end your stream, leave this up for 10 to 15 seconds. And you can actually place those, next watch these videos, next recommended videos, if you do those card placements. And so be designing that overlay strategically as well. Now, another version of that could be a video where you play that says, thank you for watching. I actually, on my own personal streams, I have a little video. It's got a little music and it just says, thank you for watching. Again, it goes back to the audience knows, okay, the show's over. There's a cue there. It helps them just know, right? And they also know that I'm not going to totally end the stream at that point. So a lot of them will be commenting as that thank you for watching video is playing, and they'll be like, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. And I display those little comments even as that thank you for watching video is playing. So honestly, to end it, I say have an ending planned, meaning have an outro. Like what is your end message going to be? Is there going to be a call to action? Is there going to be a reminder about something? But I also think that doing a recap is a great way to start that process of ending your stream. So that's a great way for your audience to also understand the stream is about to end. So you could say, everybody, this was awesome. I really appreciate y'all being here today. Today we talked about boom, boom, boom. Keep that really brief. And then again, if you have any final words, say those final words. Any announcements, be done with it, and then use an end screen of some sort. That's what I recommend for how you have a smooth ending to your stream. But that is a great question. Let's see here. I'm reading some of your funny comments. Okay, so Steven says twice a month for now. Steven, next level mindset. Think about going once a week. I want you focused on once a week. Push yourself. You can do it. You can absolutely do it. Okay, let me see here. This is an interesting comment. I know it's not totally what we're talking about. So I've been doing lives on YouTube, but I've been told I need to also add pre-recorded video each week too for better growth. This is absolutely a growth strategy. So live streams they tend to be long. They're engaging, right? We're talking about this stuff. So for example, Christian and I have been talking about this for StreamYard's YouTube channel. Every single one of these Ask StreamYard shows could totally be a tutorial video as well that may be 8 to 10 minutes, honestly, right? So last week I talked about video transitions. We could totally make a video transition tutorial so that everybody knows how to go design those and make them and use them. But the live show has a little bit of a different aspect to it. You're conversing with your audience, right? Maybe you're doing a live you're doing a live behind the scenes of you building something. But then you could do a edited video that's shorter and punchier that maybe shows the result. And you could even say, hey, I wanted to show you the results of this painting that we've been working on. Last week, I was live, or I've been live every week working on this painting. And now here's the final result. So there's lots of ways that we can create these pre-recorded videos, but you should absolutely be looking at doing a blend. It will help your search. People will search. They'll see it's a short, punchy video. They're going to watch it. If someone's looking up how to do something and they're like, 90 minutes. I don't want to watch a video for 90 minutes to learn how to do something that's going to take me 5 minutes. So definitely think about blending your content for sure. Okay, question. Barrett says, in my niche, ArthurTube, larger creators say that YouTube punishes them for going live. I haven't found this to be true. Where does the myth belief come from? That is a myth. I mean, I do believe that's a myth. Now, I will say this, if there's bad live videos, I hate to say that. I'm not trying to be like, I find live video to be a great growth strategy. But again, I do think, like as I was just talking about, having a blend of both pre-recorded video and live video is the way to go. So if you look at our StreamYard channel, you're going to see we have lots of live shows, but then we also have a lot of pre-recorded content that we also put up on the channel as well. So the blog articles are great. We have videos that support a lot of those types of topics. And then we have our live shows as well. I personally believe you need all of them in order to truly, truly grow as an entrepreneur. And so I don't think there's anything in any YouTube documentation or algorithm or anything that says if you go live, we're not going to show your content to people. But if the live productions maybe have something that's off, maybe they're not really speaking to the audience, there could be something else that's out of alignment that may be happening. I will say this though. I will say that a live video about a particular topic may not perform as well as a pre-recorded video, meaning a VOD, a video on demand. So an 8-minute tutorial about video transitions is probably going to perform better than a 90-minute live stream where we conversed and chatted and I answered a lot of questions. They both have different purposes, right? In a live stream, it just isn't going to get the same view counts. Not typically. It can, but typically it won't. So a pre-recorded video is going to potentially perform better, but they are different and the format of them is different. So that could be what they're mentioning. They may be saying, well, I don't get the same view count, so clearly YouTube doesn't like live video. That's not the case. That's why I say you do both. But again, understand that they both have different objectives. Okay, let me see here. We got a question. Purple Paisley Planner, Annette, I think is her name. When I do live on StreamYard, can we have a timer or countdown at the beginning before we go live? Yes. So you absolutely can. There's a couple of ways that you can actually do this. And I actually did a video. That's actually one of my videos, actually. Let me grab the link to that one because I think it's right on our playlist page. Let me grab it really fast. Yeah, here we go. So let me grab this for y'all. Hold on. Share. I'm getting the link for you. Okay, this is a video that I did on our YouTube channel where I actually talk about the different ways you can start a live stream with StreamYard with a countdown timer. Now, you can do it a couple different ways. You can do it on a free plan, and if you're on a paid plan, you can actually upload a video. You can upload that countdown timer video. You can design it in Wave Videos, a great application to make these countdown timers. Canva, you can also make them in Canva or other video types of applications. And what I will tell you is that if it's a video like that, it's going to play over everything, right? Now, if you want to have yourself on screen while a countdown's going, one of the things you could do is you could play a video on your other monitor that is that countdown, and you could share your screen and have that video up. So you would obviously have, the different view. So you're going to have it on screen with you, and you're going to be in the little box over here. So there's a couple ways you can do it. There's also a more complex way you can do it. You can use third-party applications like OBS, for example, which is what I use, where I'm able to do that transparent countdown for mine. And I do talk about that in that particular YouTube video. So good question. Hopefully that was an answer that you were looking for. Okay, I feel like I saw another question. Let me see here. I love this. So Robin's Egg Blue Creation says, reoccurring flow is just like a Hallmark Christmas movie. They are always the same and predictable, but I love Hallmark Christmas movies. Yeah, that's very, very true. In fact, many movies actually follow a structure, right? There's a hero, there's a guide, there's all those things. There's always a problem, there's a challenge that has to be overcome, right? So there's always, there are a lot of movies are very similar as well when it comes to that. Barrett says, man, I'm ready for pinned comments. You and me both, my friend. You and me both, for sure. Okay, let me see here. Oh, we got a sneak peek of the pinned comments. That's exciting. I'm excited to see that. All right, let me see. I'm looking. Oh, here we go. Okay. How far in advance should I schedule a live stream? So another question from Steven, Next Level Mindset. So honestly, keep this in mind. There are some limitations with some platforms. For example, Facebook, you cannot schedule your live stream more than 7 days in advance. And that is to the minute, by the way. YouTube, I don't think there is a limitation. I feel like it used to be 30 days. LinkedIn, there's no more limitation anymore. So just keep in mind that there may be a limitation on how far in advance you can. For me, I think it depends on the event. If you're going live every week and you have a reoccurring show, like a live Q&A every Tuesday like I do, you wouldn't want to like schedule all of them out. I personally don't like to do that. I think it kind of jumbles up what you're doing. And I definitely recommend that you it's kind of like you don't want to send them like a newsletter of scheduled broadcasts, but some people do that, right? I think that important broadcasts, big ones that you want to pump up for a while before your show, like if you have a really big guest that's going to be on, or you're doing a really big reveal of some sort and you want a lot of people there and you want to pump it up, then you may need some more time in advance to promote that live stream. So you may want to schedule it 15 days in advance and be promoting it like an actual virtual summit. But if it's just your regular show that's on a reoccurring basis, then I say 7 days in advance, anywhere from honestly 4 to 7 days in advance. I've actually tested this, and I can't really honestly tell you that 7 days in advance made any additional impact on like 4 or 5, but I will tell you anything under that 3-day mark, I do find that less people will show up live. And it's maybe because not as many people are seeing that scheduled post where they can click get notified or set their reminder for it. So that is part of that. So I do think that anywhere at least 4 to 5 days in advance is ideal. That may not always be possible. There may be times when you just can't do that. Maybe you don't have your information ready yet. Maybe you don't have your graphic ready yet. Maybe you're not exactly sure the time that you're going to go live just yet. Maybe you're waiting on something. But definitely try to schedule it in advance, even if it's the morning of, because that is going to help more people show up live, for sure. Hopefully that answered your question, my friend. Okay. Okay, so Christian's offering his thoughts here. He says, tip, here's my ending. Sign off, video, put an overlay end screen up, mute the mic, use hotkeys to end the screen. Yeah, so there you go. So that's his current like flow of activity for the end of his show. This is something that I will tell everyone. This was kind of back to the question we got earlier. Someone was asking, hey, how do you have a smooth transition, right, to get out of there, to end your stream? I definitely think that what you could do is have a little checklist, because honestly, like, look at that sign off video. I can't tell you how many times that I have, and the same thing goes for starting your stream. I can't tell you how many times I will start with an overlay. So it has an overlay graphic up, and then I play my countdown timer, and then I add myself to the stream in the background of the video. When that video is done, I'm going to be on screen, and then the overlay is still on. So I forget to deselect the overlay. So again, having that little checklist, especially as you're kind of getting started or doing these processes, will help you. The more you do it, the more you'll just know your routine, right? Another thing that is really cool is, like you said, the hotkey definitely helps. So we have hotkeys now. So if you have a Stream Deck, you can program those hotkeys to your Stream Deck, or you can just use the keyboard shortcuts that are inside of StreamYard that are already there. Just go to your account, your settings for your streams, and you will see those hotkeys in there for sure. So James is making a great point, and this is actually another good content tip, especially when it comes to engagement, is he says, no, another subtle yet effective hosting tip is what MDH, that's what he calls me, Melanie Dyann Howe, is doing. That is reading aloud the comments instead of just answering them. Yes, that is actually definitely a tip. When you engage with your audience, you want to make sure you read their name and you read their comment out loud before you answer it, because a lot of people are not watching your live video. They are listening to your live video. And also, when you repeat a question, it just helps hone in on what you're talking about, because you might be looking at a question that is, timestamped. That's timestamped at literally 11:58. It is now 12:10. That was 12 minutes ago. You're all way down in the bottom of the comments. You're not looking at James's comment. So if I just start addressing it, you're gonna be like, what is she talking about? What is she talking about? So again, it's because of that too. So for sure. Let me look and see if we have any more questions in the comments. Let's see here. So Sven Jessen says, what do you think about my mindset? Better 80% planned and starting streaming instead of thinking and trying to reach 100% planned and never start streaming. My friend, yes. I definitely think that people get hung up on trying to plan, over-perfect this process, and then they don't go live enough. They also get tired of live streaming because of their over-prepping, right? I 100% say 80% is better than not streaming at all because you were waiting for 100%. Also, what I will tell you, as I said earlier in the stream, is that as you are doing this more often, you are going to get better. You are going to actually get smoother. You won't need to do the same amount of prep work. There are times when my prep is 10 minutes, and that is mostly just putting graphics together or banners. Then there are times where it is like multiple hours. I am doing research. I'm figuring stuff out. I'm working with a guest, right? I'm building an agenda. I'm building an outline for my show. It just depends on the show itself. And of course, as I mentioned, the content of that show. So that is something else to keep in mind for sure. So, oops, I didn't mean to pull that up. So I love that he said that, because what I don't want you to do is to take these tips I talked to you about today about creating a plan, creating an agenda, and letting it be too cumbersome to the point where you actually don't want to go live or it's too much work for you. As I said, you could put Post-it notes on your monitor. You could write it down on a piece of paper. You could type it up in a document. I really don't care. But I definitely think that he's absolutely right. Go live, even if you're not 100% prepped and planned, get going. You will actually get better at that, and you'll be able to make it happen. Let's see if I have any more questions for you guys. So Dip Outdoors TV says, how do you make an animated background for green screen? Green screen. So the green screen background, the green screen inside of StreamYard, I'm actually going to look. I don't think videos are currently supported in that background. That might be changing soon, FYI. Green screen. I'm looking. Video backgrounds. The video backgrounds currently says recommended PNG or JPEG. So we definitely are looking at a PNG or a JPEG style. So that's in StreamYard. But if you were using OBS, for example, or another application in combination with StreamYard, you could definitely make an animated background. You could do this in any video creation software. Wave Video is one that I've been exploring lately that I think is really great for animations, as well as GIF files, which sometimes is going to be better for you on that background because it's going to loop. Video backgrounds, can be designed in. They can be designed in Canva. They can be designed in Wave Video. Place it. The other thing you might want to consider is just going and getting a free stock video file that's a cool background on Pixabay, right? Pixabay is a free stock, royalty-free image and a video library. You can find some pretty cool stuff there as well. But as of right now, that video background with green screen isn't supported natively inside of StreamYard. That could change. Right? That could change. And I know that backgrounds are something that are getting ready to change as well. So, okay, let me see if we have any more questions. Steven Next Level Mindset says, if I usually post one regular video a week, what's the best time to go live every week? Well, that actually depends. Personally, it depends on your strategy. So one thing I've seen a lot of people do is they will actually come out with a video on demand, for example, so a pre-recorded video, as you're calling a regular video. Let's say they release that on Monday. well, then they will go live on Wednesday and they will actually talk about that particular video and they'll do like a live Q&A about it. So it depends on your actual strategy itself. So there's different ways you can do it. Personally, I don't know that it truly matters. I do think that you can spread this out. I'm not a YouTube content strategist or SEO strategist, so there may be some days of the week that are suggested to be ideal, but I know that almost everything I read when it comes to what's the best day to go live, what's the best day to email your audience, what's the best day to release a podcast episode, I always learn and find that people usually say you got to just test a lot of things, try a bunch of things with your audience, see what works for you and your schedule, see what works for them. But then the key factor is when you do decide, do it the same every week. That is really what matters the most versus the day of the week that you do it. And so, focus on that. When does it fit in your schedule? But also, what is the content itself, the strategy itself? Pixelpia says, I am trying to have a tutorial element in my streams. Up to now, I have done the live first, then upload the tutorial. Do you think it would be good to upload the video first and then go live? So I didn't see your comment yet, Pixelpia, but I think it could be both ways. So I think you could do it both ways. What I would say though, is if you do a live version first, then the tutorial, I actually think that when you're live, you can actually figure out, they're going to be asking you questions. That's going to help you actually know, hey, I need to make sure I address these questions when I do my tutorial version or my pre-recorded, video on demand version. So maybe you do a tutorial, you do it live, you talk about it, you field their questions. Okay, great. People have a ton of, like, for example, I'm going to say this. When Christian and I did the StreamYard team, we did the feature release a couple weeks ago. We did a 3-hour stream. We went through all the new features in StreamYard teams. There were a lot of questions that were like a lot of people had this, like there were 2 or 3 questions that a lot of people had. And so we were like, whoa, that was really interesting that a lot of people were asking those same 3 questions. So we were like, we need to make sure that as we're communicating about this feature, we pre-address those. We let people know, like, it's kind of like you're getting an FAQ and then your actual video itself can cater to what people are probably going to be asking you because you just got a sampling of what they're going to ask when you did it live. So that is actually a strategy that I think could be very smart. But on the flip side, you could do the pre-recorded video and then go live and talk about stuff. And then you can drive traffic to that pre-recorded video. And you can basically say, hey, we've got a video for this. Like what I did today. I talked about Kirk's run of show video. Hopefully I'm driving traffic to that video but I don't need to rehash fully what Kirk did because we have a video that supports that. But I can take care of your questions and I can talk more about why it's important to have that run of show. So hopefully that makes sense, Pixelpia, Internet for Beginners, that you could do it either way, but just know, again, your strategy needs to be tweaked based on the order of which you do that. So, okay. All right. I think I have time for one more question. So Chap Wilson Rios wants to know, is there a way to add a multiple camera button? As of right now, inside of StreamYard, we don't have multiple cameras supported, but I absolutely know this has been requested many, many, many times. Right now, the workaround would be to simply go to your camera and then select a different webcam. You could also use what I'm using, which is OBS, virtual camera. So I actually have 3 cameras hooked up to my computer, and inside OBS, I have 3 scenes with the different cameras. And then I am able to basically display each of those differently because I'm using the OBS virtual camera, which is what I'm selected as my webcam inside StreamYard. And so whatever's being on OBS is what you see here. So that would be the other workaround for that. This is funny. The streamer get enough input from us to keep you busy for round 2 of pinned content feature enhancements. I'm sure they did. I know that the development team is definitely they are on a roll right now, and I know that all of your feedback is super great. Also, just know that, like, for example, hotkeys, StreamYard teams. These are version 1. These are V1 of those features that they have recently rolled out. They have more things coming. The video library, there's more enhancements coming to the video library, more features inside of there. So definitely stay engaged. Definitely keep providing the feedback for sure, so that they know what you want. They want to know what you all need. So for sure. Okay, this is a great question. So I'm going to get to this one. This is probably my last question I can take for today. So something to think about with Dale Happy Knowles. That's a cute one. To avoid breaking trend of thought, can we play a video from brand in picture so we don't have to fumble with sharing? From picture in picture. That is not currently, so you can do this, but you would have to do a share video version. And so inside of your studio, you would go down, if you wanted to use the picture in picture, which, let me see if I can do this. Let me see if I have a video where we can do this. I have videos. They're just kind of funny. Let me do a video share. So I'm sharing my screen, video file, and then I'm literally going to just pick a random video that I have. Okay. So I'm going to mute that. So I'm going to add it to the stream, and I'm going to select picture in picture. So that is how you would do picture in picture while a video is playing. Now, hopefully that is muted for you all. It should be. So that would be the way you would do it. So you have to do the video share. There's no way to do picture in picture with your videos inside that you have uploaded to the studio, right? And so that is definitely a great idea. And I absolutely think that you should go to the contact page and fill out the form and submit that idea, because I actually think that's a really great idea for sure. Jasmine, hello, Jasmine. She said, can you program your number pad as a Stream Deck? Well, so it's not a Stream Deck. Your number pad, you could totally program those hotkeys, and you can change the hotkeys. So instead of it being Control D, for example, you could just make it number 7 if you wanted to. So yes, you can configure your hotkeys in StreamYard to your number pad on your keyboard, and that would be like a little Stream Deck. So it's a great idea, and I know a lot of people have talked about doing that, and a lot of people, you can even buy a separate keypad. If you don't have a keypad on your keyboard, you can buy just the keypad by itself, for sure. Okay, all right, my friends. Well, listen, here's the deal. I have to keep moving because it's now 12:22, and I do have a hard stop today. Sometimes I like to hang out with you guys a little bit longer, but unfortunately today I've got a lot going on, including getting a turkey in the oven. I've got to get it. It's brining. I got to get a turkey ready to put in the oven. I took turkey duty this year, so that's what's happening. If you're in the United States, tomorrow is, of course, the United States Thanksgiving, and so if you're celebrating Thanksgiving this year in the United States, happy early Thanksgiving to you all. I want you all to know how much I appreciate you tuning in and coming to the show. I feel like every week we just have more of you showing up live, asking these questions. I love hosting this show, and I love it when I get to take a question that was posted in our community and we take a deep dive on that. And I absolutely love seeing the same people showing up week after week, coming in and just chiming in, not only asking questions, but also helping each other. I love it when you all help each other. And I feel like the StreamYard community is definitely something that makes StreamYard different than many, many applications that I've used in the past for live streaming, but also other things. And that is all of you. And so as us here in the United States go into Thanksgiving tomorrow, it's a time to kind of reflect and be grateful. And I do want you all to know how grateful I am to have the opportunity to come into this show every Wednesday and be live with you, but also just getting to know all of you and helping you and having an opportunity to learn from you even, because many of you actually have stuff to teach me as well. So I appreciate you all very, very much. And I definitely will be back next week. In fact, I think I may have a special guest next week, because I think I think we may be doing another feature rollout, and I have a feeling that I'm going to need some help again. So I may be asking my friend Christian to come on the show with me again, and we may just go through a bunch of features again next week. I'm pretty sure that's what we're doing, but you'll know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a beat and you see when we actually schedule that stream and that we're able to take care of you and get you all set up. So everybody, have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you next week.